This is the 2019 Saracen Levarg. Now that, for the astute amongst you, is gravel backwards. The 2019 Levarg comes in 4 different models, from the £900 commuter bike with flat bars all the way up to the top of the range OR that's proper gravel adventure ready. This top of the range bike costs £2,300 and comes with, and here's the thing, suspension forks and a dropper post. So what's going on here? Why does a gravel bike look like and have bits from a cross-country bike? We're going to find out. Cannondale were one of the first to put a suspension fork on a gravel bike with their Slate. This had the 30mm travel Oliver lefty suspension fork. The Saracen comes with the Fox 32 step-cast 3-position Fit 4 fork. Now that's a mouthful, but what that means is that you've got 3 positions of damping control, low speed compression damping, and rebound control on your fork. More interestingly, this is actually an identical fork to the Fox 32 Stepcast XC race fork, just with less travel. Fox have reduced the length of the air spring from the standard 100mm travel fork to 40mm for their gravel version. And for those of you wondering, this fork weighs the same as their 100mm travel 32 fork at a claimed 1.36 kilos. This particular model of the 32 is dubbed the AX, and that stands for Adventure Cross. The other unusual thing you'll find on this gravel bike is a dropper post. It features an Exaform speed-up dropper with 120mm of travel. The release mechanism for the dropper is located underneath the seat, not on the handlebars. The geometry on this bike is quite important, but before we get into that, a quick rundown of the spec. The bike runs 650B wheels, not 700C, that are wrapped in WTB tyres. The tyres are a modest 42mm wide. The group set is SRAM's fantastic Apex 1x system, and the dropout on the back is 12mm by 142. As I said earlier, the geometry on this bike is pretty important, so let's get into it. In this size large, the Levarg has a 424mm reach, a 425mm chainstay, 69.5 degree head angle, and a 73 degree seat angle. Those numbers might sound familiar to you if you know your cross-country bikes. The Levarg's geometry is pretty similar to something like a specialised chisel that ranked highly in BikeRadar's tests. The only real standout difference is the reach figure that's quite a bit longer on the chisel. On paper, the bikes seem pretty similar. However, out on the trail, I think you'd be safe to bet that they'd feel fairly different given the different reach figure. And the other difference between the two is the fork offset. Fork offset can affect a bike's handling. The longer your offset, the more likely the bike's steering is to flop around, or the steering will feel more responsive. The shorter the offset, the calmer the steering is going to feel, and the less flop there is. Interestingly, the Chisel, the mountain bike, has a longer 51mm offset, whereas the Levarg has a 44mm offset. This means when you're out gravel riding, the shorter offset on the Levarg should make the steering feel more composed on the relatively high-speed gravel roads. With a longer 51mm offset, the Chisel should feel livelier for the tighter, twitchier trails you find when mountain biking. So to answer that burning question, is this just a mountain bike with drop bars? Well, kind of and kind of not. That's a bit of a cop-out, but think of it this way. You've got a suspension fork and a dropper post. If you bolted flat bars to the Levarg, you've got a semi-capable cross-country bike, but if you put slick tyres on it, you've got a road bike. Whereas something like the Chisel is more off-road focused. If you put drop bars on that with a 100mm travel fork, I think you're going to struggle. It's not going to be as much fun as this could be. However, the cynic in me thinks that this could be a niche market that's being created when you're better off having a specific bike for each discipline. But the optimist in me says that I would have a lot of fun on this bike on the road with different tyres, on gravel with these, and then maybe set up a little bit differently for some gnarlier off-road riding. So I guess I owe you guys an apology, I haven't managed to answer your question. Like a lot of things in the bike industry, it's a bit of a grey area. What do you guys think? Is this the perfect do-it-all bike, or is it something that's trying to fill a niche that isn't there? As always, Let us know in the comments what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.